So today we are going to deal with cancer biology. While coming to the cancer biology, you need to know some sort of normal terms and what is going on here. So before entering into the cancer biology, let us see some terminology right here. In this, what is actually a cancer? Cancer means unstoppable growth of a cell is called as cancer, and this is called as neoplasm. So here it is called as neoplasm. Irresistible growth of a cell is called as neoplasm. And now the formation of a tumor is called as neoplasia. So here the irresistible division of a cell is called as neoplasm, and the formation of a tumor is called as neoplasia, or the formation of irresistible cell division is called as neoplasia. Well, coming to this, again we can say here the study of cancer is called as oncology. So study of cancer is called as oncology. Now coming to the cancer, sometimes it is due to the inherited character. Sometimes in the family members they may have this sort of cancer kind of thing, and it is inherited to the generation, and some are mutation, that means the sudden change whatever is happening in a gene will lead to the cancer. So, well, coming to the cancers, now we have seen the neoplasm and neoplasia. So, there are different sort of cancers, that means there is a kind of undanger, danger, and in between to that. So, let us see what are those. Well, coming to the first one is benign tumors. This is benign tumors, pre-malignant, and the last one is malignant tumors. So here we can see benign tumors, pre-malignant and malignant tumor. So well, coming to these three, let us see. Well, benign tumor is that actually they can be removed by the surgical methods. That means example like fibroids which are present in the uterine, all these can be removed. That means if at all there is a surgical method for any sort of cancer here, that can be removed by the surgical method, and it is not spreading. That means it is not going to spread to the rest of the body. It is restricted to one place and it can be removed by the surgical method. So here pre-malignant tumor, this has a sort of a kind of tendency that it is actually a cancer cell, but it doesn't undergo a kind of improvement until some age. That means there is a cancer cell present in your body, but it doesn't come for the expression unless it is going to form a it is entering into a certain stage itself, it's going to show you the characters. So it is also called as carcinoma in situ. Carcinoma stew. That means actually it is actually a cancer cell, but it comes only for the expression along with the time. That means along with a kind of 5 years or 10 years, even the cancer is present in your body, it won't come for the expression. If at all the time is going to be increased, and along with the time this cancer kind of characters are also going to be evolved from your body. Now coming to the malignant tumor, this is a kind of dangerous tumor where it is spreading to all over the body. So the process of spreading is called as metastasis. So here it is called as metastasis. Well, coming to the malignant tumor, it is called as metastasis. Metastasis means that is going to spread all over the body. That means there is no surgical method present here. Why? Because that is spreading from one part to the other part. So all over the body it's going to spread. So well, coming to the, let us see, there are three types of cancer present. One is benign, pre-malignant and malignant. Coming to the benign tumors, it is a surgical removal and it does not spread to the all over the body. Well, coming to the pre-malignant tumor, it is also called as carcinoma in situ. That means prolonged with the period the expression will be coming out. Whereas coming to the malignant tumor, it is undergoing a process called as metastasis. Means if at all there is a cancer in a stage of malignant, then it is sure that it is spreading all over the body. That means there is no stoppable for this. It is completely spread to the all over the body. So here you can take an example for blood cancer. Now tumor means actually a tumor is a kind of tremendous cell growth. That means a cell is going to divide continuously here. Tumor means you can see a bulging sort of thing or a kind of extra growth. We're coming to the blood cancer or leukemia, what happens there is that blood is not showing you these kind of tumors. Blood is containing the cancer. Even though blood consists of a cancer, it doesn't show you a tumor sort of structure. So here only the lack of tumor sort of structure is not present in the blood cancer, but the rest of the cancer you can see this sort of tumor structures there. So while coming to the cancer, we have seen some introduction part of this, and there are a lot of things that like means what these cancers are there, and what sort of things they need to have, the properties of the cancer, how they are going into a cancer stage, or what is actually which is making them into a cancer, and what are the properties involved in the cancer biology. So let us see properties of cancer. Properties of cancer. So let us see some of the properties of the cancer. While coming to the properties of the cancer, here you can see two properties. Let us divide. The first one is going to be anchorage property. The other one is called as cadhereance. Cadhereance property. So here you can see there are two properties. One is anchorage, the other one is cadhereance property. So while coming to the anchorage property, let us see there you need to take an example. If at all there is a vessel, let us take two vessels where you can put a normal cell, and here you need to put a cancer cell. So this is normal cell and this is cancer cell. So what is happening here is that normal cell is depending on the vessel. It's not moving away from the vessel, it is actually growing or dividing, holding to the vessel. So this is what happening in the normal cell, and there is no space present between the each cell, so that there need to be a tremendous growth. So there is no tremendous growth present in the normal cell. They divide actually in a uniformly manner, and there is no space present between the two cells, so that there can be a tremendous sort of division. Where coming to the cancer cell, what happens is that they never hold to the vessel. That means there is no holding to the vessel. There is a division of cell and they move all over the vessel. That means they lose the property called as anchorage property. That means there is no dependence character here. Dependence character is not present. Is not present. You need to understand here it is holding the vessel, it is taking the support of a vessel and it is growing uniformly. But while coming to this, there is no such a uniform growth. There is just growing, growing, growing. And you can see each cell has a lot of gap. That means if at all there is a gap, you can say that there is a scope of another growth of a cell. That means the thing in the cancer cell is that each cell will grow tremendously, countlessly is the thing actually happening right there. So, but in the normal cell, there is no such a scope of division. Well, coming to the cancer cell, there is a lot of scope of division right there, and you can see how they are scattered all over the vessel, where coming to the normal cell, it is not scattered there. In a cancer cell, it is all over the way, the cells are scattered in the vessel. So, by this you can say that anchorage dependence is present in a normal cell, but it is not present in a cancer cell. So, the next property is that you call it as cadhereance property. That means actually between the each cell there is a holding capacity. These are the cell, these are normal cell. In the normal cell there is a character or there is a compound calcium present here, and it is holding the cells together, which is called as cadhereance property. See, you can see this is a cell, this is a cell and this is a cell. They are attached together so that they are not scattered all over the body. That means there is a membrane which is holding the two cells together. This is called as cadhereance property. Now, if it is a normal cell, that's why you can see this membrane. Well, coming to the cancer cell, what happens is that you can't see this membrane. So there is no membrane right here. That cancer cell or the normal cell itself, if at all it is going to lose this property called as cadherin property, it turns into a cancer cell. That means you can see there is no attachment present here, nothing is there. So each cell will be independent and it starts giving its own cell again and again. So there will be a tremendous division with no linkage between them. So this is what happening in the cancer cell. This is another property. Due to the absence of cadherin property also, there is a lot of division of cells taking place in a cancer cell. So another property you are going to see, apoptosis. Now what does this apoptosis means? It is a kind of the cell itself, if at all a normal cell, it is damaged. That means if a normal cell is damaged, what it is actually happening here is that, see, a cell is lacking something or there is a deficiency in one cell, it undergoes a kind of death, self-death. Apoptosis means killing itself. So a normal cell, if at all it is damaged, it is going to undergo, it is moving away from there or it is killing itself. But this same character you can't see in a cancer cell. What is happening with the cancer cell means, though it is damaged, though it is doing something else, there is no stoppable of anything. There is always a tremendous growth you can see. That means even the cell it is damaged also, it's not going to stop its division. It is completely dividing tremendously. The division is going on. Where coming to the normal cell, if at all there is a small problem in its cell also, it is undergoing a process called as apoptosis. Apoptosis means killing itself. So that means if at all that is damaged cell, it goes for division, it goes in a proper division or it doesn't go for a division. But here in the cancer cell, what is happening is that there is no such kind of rule and regulation. Even it is damaged also, it is going for the division. So this sort of thing is seen in a cancer cell. This is another kind of third property you can see in the cancer cell, lack of apoptosis process. Lack of apoptosis is even one character of causing the cancer cell. That means a normal cell, if at all it is going or turning into a cancer cell, is because of, if at all it is losing the character called as apoptosis, is one of the reason to become a normal cell into a cancer cell. So here you can see another character or another property in the cancer cell, that is, here you can see abnormal change in cancer cell. Abnormal change in cancer cell. That means if at all there is a cancer cell, you can see something is growing on it, which gives you a kind of antigen structure. That means there is an outgrowth present. This is a cancer cell. So on the cancer cell itself, you can see some other growth. Now we have a immune system. Don't you think that our immune system is going to work here? Yes, the immune system, whatever we have, this immune system recognize this as some antigen with the help of natural killer cells or NK cells. NK cells are nothing but natural killer cells. So these are one part of the immune system. So here this natural killer cells recognizes this as a cancer cell. How it is recognizing it as a cancer cell is because the same cancer cell is giving you another outgrowth on its body, recognizing that as an antigen. This a natural killer cell is able to identify that this is a cancer cell. That means this is not a normal cell, it has a default in it. So it can be identified with the help of its outgrowth, with the help of natural killer cells. So whatever the natural killer cells are present in our body, they can recognize this cancer cell, but till the time the cancer will be spread all over the body. That is the reason it is very kind of difficult to treat a cancer patient. Another property, induce angiogenesis. So what is actually happening here is that you can see cancer cell will be present here. Cancer cell, what is cancer cell is that it is a growing cell. whatever it is a cell, but it is a growing cell. So in our body there is a tendency, if at all there is a growing cell, all the blood vessel will enter into that. That means whatever the blood vessels are present in our body, the new capillaries will be formed out of that vessels, and they reach to the place wherever the division of the cell is taking place. So that is the reason, see, when a mother is when a woman is conceived, there is a growing fetus present in her body. So all the uterine membrane turns into a blood vascular system. That means there is a growth taking place. So the blood vessels are completely turning to that area itself. So what happens here is that, see, there is a cancer cell here and it doesn't have any work. Its only work is to eat and divide. So it starts dividing here. So it is starting dividing here. There is a normal cell which is present beside it. It's a normal cell. Now it is not going for any sort of division. Nothing is taking place here. But in a cancer cell there is a tremendous division. We already said that blood vessels are attracted to the place where the division is taking place. So if at all a blood vessel is passing from here, what happens is that whatever the nutrients are present in the blood vessels will start giving you capillaries here, and all the nutrients will enter into this division itself. So wherever the division is taking place, there the blood vessels are tremendously growing, and whatever the nutrients are present in the blood vessels are taken by the capillaries and they are providing to the cancer cell. Now normal cell starts starving. See, the simple thing, if at all there is a food which is sufficient for the two persons, and if at all there are 10 people sitting at one place, and one person is sitting at one place, and looking at to the majority, what do you do is that you give to the 10 persons than the one person. So the same thing is happening here. If at all there is a cancer cell growing, what happens is that whatever the blood vessel is passing out from there, they give out the capillaries present out there, and they give to the one such sort of cell which is called as cancer cell, because that has a tendency to grow tremendously. So here when it is growing, a kind of unstoppable growing is taking place here. What happens is that the blood vessels thinks that this is the important place I need to provide the blood, or I need to give the blood, because there is the growth taking place or the division is taking place. So what happens is that whatever the normal cell is present beside this cancer cell, what happens is that it starts starving. Why? Because there is a one vessel going out there and the capillaries are completely entering into the cancer cell. Now whatever the normal cell is present beside it, it needs to starve, nothing but starve. So if at all it starves, what does it do? If at all it is going to starve, one day it's going to die. So this is what actually happening there. In a cancer cell, what happens is that it makes the healthy cell to starve, and one day they shrink out. But in the cancer cells, what happens is that there is no use of these cells. They just grow on, and they starve the normal cell, and due to the starving of the normal cell, what happens is that the normal cell loses its capacity to live, and it enters into a kind of apoptosis kind of process. So here the normal cell is attacked due to the cancer cell. Due to the growth of the cancer cell, a normal cell is starved all the time. Now if at all there is this sort of growing, we already said that it is a kind of metastasis process. Metastasis process means they can move to all over the body. So everywhere they can be spread. The spreading you can see everywhere in the cancer cell. So we have seen some kind of properties of the cancer. So we need to know, see, we have seen what is cancer, what are the properties of cancer, what is actually a normal cell, why a normal cell is going for a cancer cell. So we have seen some of the basic kind of knowledge about the cancer, but there is a question why even we have an immune system which need to work against the antigens whatever is entering into our body. So there is a question that even though immune system is present, everything is properly present in a body, why actually these cancer cells are taking place, and what is the reason why this cancer is growing in a normal human being. So there are some kind of things or mechanisms are there. If at all there is a failure of this mechanisms itself, the cancer is taking place. So actually there is an immune system which is present in our body. It is actually acting against to the cancer cells, but what actually happening out there is that the failure of this sort of immune kind of things is making these cancer cells to grow in a normal human being. So let us see here. We can see the body defense mechanism to prevent cancer. That means there are some natural body defense which is actually going against the cancer. So in order to prevent a normal person from the cancer, there are defense mechanism, whatever is taking place in our body, they are actually fighting in order to stop the cancer. So let us see what are those things which are helping us to stop the cancer. Here the first one you are talking about is proto-oncogenes. These proto-oncogenes are present in each and every human being. So here the proto-oncogenes are present in each and every human being right there. So now a normal cellular genes, that means what is actually here happening is that there is a gene which is causing a cancer, and we know there are kind of homozygous and heterozygous gene. What is proto-oncogenes is telling is that if at all there is even a single dominant gene is present, or if even a single mutation is taking place in a gene, you can say that the cell is going to actually cause a cancer. So here mutagens makes them cellular oncogenes. So they are normal cells. Actually every person, every human being consists of these proto-oncogenes in their body. So what is actually happening with the proto-oncogenes is that they don't show any characters. That means they actually, whenever they are present, they are not ready to cause you cancer. Proto-oncogenes are present in each and every organism, but coming to the expression is different. So what here he is telling that if at all you have a proto-oncogene, I am saying that these proto-oncogenes are normal genes, like normal every gene. There are also cancer genes present in each and every organism, but there is a sort of expression coming and not coming into the expression. So what is the one which is actually causing to come to them into the expression is that, see, every gene you will give in a form of alleles. So what here is telling that if at all there is a single dominant gene, so if you say there is a kind of any gene which is coding for some sort of cancer, so even in that, if at all there is a one single dominant gene also is present, they come for the expression. So in the proto-oncogenes, what happens is that if at all you have is one single dominant gene also, you are ready to cause or you will be affected with the cancer. So though there is a kind of one recessive gene also is present, but that doesn't come for the expression. We have already seen in the hereditary chapter that if at all there is a presence of one dominant gene is present, there is no work for the recessive genes. We see, we'll say that example. Normally in our kind of hereditary chapter, a normal example, tall plant, there we can see in the Mendel's kind of mechanism, we say that there is a presence of dominant T, there is a presence of small t, but what is actually the physical character you can see for a plant is that if at all their genotype is present, this like also the phenotype you can see it as it's a tall plant. So what is actually coming for the expression is that tall. Even though there is a presence of dwarf character, even though there is a kind of dwarf character present which is recessive, it won't come for the expression. Why? Because one dominant gene is enough to change the complete gene expression. So the same thing is happening in the proto-oncogenes. If at all you are going to get a single dominant gene, what happens is that these cancer cells will come for the expression. So here the expression of the cancer cells depends upon the change or depends upon the dominant gene whatever is present in your body. Now the second character is mutation. Mutation means sudden change. So you don't know when this sudden change will happen and why it happens. Even a healthy person can get a cancer. Why? Because it's a mutation. What does this mutation means? any sudden change in a body causing due to the cause of anything, you don't know the reason what actually the mutation takes place or why these mutations are taking place in a human body. There is no such a reason, or there is no specific kind of reason. This is sort of a mutation, that is the reason they are going to get. Mutation is nothing but any sudden change in the body, it leads to the cancer. So if at all to this proto-oncogenes there is some change or there is a minor mutation is taking place in these cells, what happens is that they tremendously they show their character, they enter into the expression and the cancer is caused. So the proto-oncogenes are present in all the organism, all the living beings, but the thing is the coming for the expression is different. So here the proto-oncogenes will come for the expression in 2 times. Whenever they'll have a dominant gene, either there is a mutation taking place. So these are the 2 reasons when the proto-oncogenes will turn into a cancer gene. Now you have a tumor suppressor gene. That means tumor suppressor gene. What is a tumor? We already said that a tremendous growth of a cell will lead into a tumor. Now tumor suppressor gene, tumor suppressing gene, it stops the gene to divide. That means a cell need to grow or divide based upon its circumstances, based upon its needs, but it can't grow as it wish. So who is the one who is taking care of this is that there is a protein called as P53 gene. This is a gene and it's a protein which is called as P53 gene. It codes for P53 protein. Now this protein is present in a kind of chromosome. This is a chromosome. We already said that each character is present on the 2 chromosomes. So here you can see the P53 gene is present here in the 2 kind of thing. Now we say that P53 is a tumor suppressor gene. That means if at all there is a chance of division, tremendous division is taking place in your body, then who is the one who is guarding is that P53. P53, see, think I am a cell. Now I say that I wanted to divide, I just wanted to divide. So who is the one who decides me to divide is that P53. P53 is the one who checks out whether you are capable for the division or not. That means whether you are ready for the division or you have any problem so that you wanted to go for the division. Either you are damaged so that the body has some problem and you need to be divided. So all these sort of things will be under the control of P53 gene. So he says that why these genes are caused, why? Because if at all this P53, now P53 mutation, what he is saying that if both undergo mutation only can cause the cancer. P53 is present on the 2 chromosome you are seeing here, and even if one kind of gene is also undergoing also, there is no such problem taking place. That means P53 will work. See, the difference between these proto-oncogenes and tumor suppressor gene is that here we said that even a single dominant gene is enough for giving you expression. Now what is actually happening in the tumor suppressor gene of P53 is that it is present on the 2 chromosomes. So what is actually here happening is that even a single chromosome is undergoing for the mutation also, nothing problem is going to be happen. But if the two kind of things are undergoing for any sort of mutation, the genes or the 2 proto-oncogenes whatever are present in the chromosome, if at all they are going for the mutation, then there is no kind of checkpoint present. That means the P53 loses its character to check a cell. I said that if at all a cell wanted to go for the division, it need to take the permission of a kind of P53 protein. That means P53 is the only one which allows the cell division to take place. Now if at all the P53 is failing, now who is the one to stop them? There is no one to stop them and they grow on. So this is actually happening in the cancer cell. If at all there is a P53 kind of losing, the protein is losing its character, what happens is that it loses its checkpoint sort of character also, and it starts going on growing. So the cancer cells or the normal cell will enter into the division cells, and every cell will go for the division just like that without any checkpoint. Simple thing. Say if at all there is a kind of check post present in our way or somewhere else, and you say that only this sort of vehicles are allowed from that, then that sort of vehicles only will be entered into that. Now once you remove that checkpoint or there is no one sitting out there to check the vehicles, what happens? Every vehicle is going from the same way. So the same thing, if you think that gate is P53, then that is what is actually happening here. Is this, if at all this P53 is gene is going to lose its character, what happens is that each and every cell will go for division without any permission of P53. If at all P53 is failing only, the cancer, the kind of normal cell will go for this sort of division and it causes the cancer cell. Now let us see functions of P53. We have seen what happens if at all the P53 is going for the mutation, then it causes the cancer. But here you can see what are the functions of P53. Why is this P53 so important in our body? Now, important role with reference to the G1 checkpoint. Now, G1 checkpoint is the one, actually you know the cell division, mitosis and meiosis, there you can see the G1 phase present in one of the cycles of the division. So G1 checkpoint, that means at the stage of, if at all the cell wanted to divide, there is a stage called as G1 phase. Now if the cell wanted to cross that phase, you need to go under the kind of control of P53. P53 will check the cell in G1 stage and it allows the cell, okay, you can go for the division. Now guards integrity of the DNA and it sees whether the DNA is properly integrated or present, or if the base pairs are clearly present or not. Now guardian angel of cell's genome, so that is the reason this P53 is called as guardian angel of cell's genome. Why? Because that is the one only which checks whether the each and cell is properly present. If at all it is not properly present, or if at all it is damaged, it sends for them for the apoptosis, or it actually kind of repairs the cells. So that is the reason it is called as guardian angel of cell's genome. Now stops cell division and helps the repair the damaged DNA. What is actually happening here is that if at all there is a DNA which is damaged, now what happens is that the DNA damage can't go for the repair. If at all the DNA is not actually happening to divide, why it is not going for the division is that there is a repair. Repair means there is some problem in the gene, or there is some problem in the DNA. Now what does this P53 do there is that it helps the DNA to repair itself, and after the repairing itself, it enters from the G1 phase to the S1 phase. We already said that G1 is the checkpoint so that the rest of the division is taking place. So the first division is G1 phase. If there is no checking point present in the G1 phase, you can say that all stupid cells will go for the division, and the DNA, even though there is a repair present in that divides like that only, and all this is going to happen. But it is not happening. Why? Because the P53 is present near the G1 checkpoint and it is checking each and every cell. Now if at all there is a problem in the DNA, that means there is some sort of repair need to be done in the DNA. What it is doing is that it is helping the DNA to undergo the repair, and it is asking to enter from the G1 phase to the S phase. Now if at all there is a kind of no, it cannot be repaired, or the DNA cannot be repaired, what it is doing? So if at all it is incapable of repair, it undergoes into the apoptosis. That means the DNA is in a repair condition, or the cell is damaged and it is nowhere repaired, or it is impossible to repair. So it need to go for the apoptosis. That means it need to kill by itself. But here if at all it's not going to be happen, means there is a lack in the P53 protein. If at all the P53 protein is losing its character, kind of checking point, then there is no kind of tumor suppressor gene present in our body. So tumor suppressor gene, why it is called as tumor suppressor gene means it is checking each and every cell whenever it is going for a division. Whenever there is a division in each and every cell, the checkpoint is nothing but P53 protein. That is the reason it has a tremendous role in our body, and it is a kind of very important. Why? Because it is a tumor suppressor gene, and it is protecting each and every cell in order it doesn't enter into a condition of cancer cell, or the cell need to grow tremendously without of no reason. So you can see one kind of defense mechanism is P53 protein. So it is not enough for the whole body. So then you need to have another compound present there. So here you can see retinoblastoma protein. There is retinoblastoma protein present in our body. There is another protein or another gene called as retinoblastoma protein. Now what it is doing is that it is also equal to the function of P53. This retinoblastoma is also equal to the function of P53. That means this is also acting as a checkpoint itself. So these two together helps a normal cells to be prevented from the cancer, to prevent them to become from the cancer cell. So these are the two proteins which are helping the body not to undergo for any sort of abnormal divisions of a cell. So these are a kind of suppressor genes or tumor suppressor genes present in our body, that is P53 protein, and the other one is retinoblastoma protein. So here we have seen types of we have seen normal cancer, its properties, and what is the one how our immune system is working against the cancers. So we have seen this sort of kind of different sort of sectors. Now let us see what is actually, who is the one, what is actually the one which causes the cancer, why we are undergoing for this sort of cancers. So let us see here. Now you can see carcinogens, the substances that cause the cancer, they damage DNA. So what are these things which causes the cancer? Why is this cancer is taking place? That they damage your DNA. That is nothing but they change a kind of mutation. Mutation means a change over in a base pair also will lead a kind of different gene. If at all that gene need to work for one thing else, if at all there is a mutation taking place, it's not at all going to work, or it works against for you. So this sort of things will be happen because of mutations. Now what are those one things which are causing, or what are the one which actually leads to this mutations is that here you can see radioactive substances like gamma rays, UV rays, X-rays, inhaled asbestos and dioxins. So while coming to here you can see tobacco smoke and inorganic compounds, cancers of virus, tumor forming RNA virus. So this sort of different sort of things are present which actually causes your cancer. That means these are all different sort of things which helps you for the mutation. If at all there is a mutation in a body, or it is taking some sort of sudden change, is why because of this rays. These are harmful rays, or inhalation of different sort of toxins into your body in the form of smoking or something like that. What is actually happening is that you are inhaling this sort of intoxic materials, carbon monoxide materials into your body, which actually causes you cancer. So there are different sort of radioactive isotopes, and there are different sort of rays which are very harmful to the body, and they are passing out of your body, in and out of your body, will actually cause you cancers. That is the reason if at all they'll advise you for an X-ray or some sort of CT scan or something, different sort of things wherever the radiations are used. They are not supposed to be taken like yearly twice or thrice. If at all the doctor is making you a scan, your head scan is going to be taken. So he advises you for another 8 months or 9 months, you are not supposed to go to any sort of radiation kind of things. Why? Because that is so harmful that if at all your cells are going to take those rays, there is a chance of causing these mutations, or there is a chance of taking these rays into your cell, and there will be a change in the mutation which may lead to the cancer. So now, well, coming to the types of cancer, so you have seen what are the one which is actually causing the cancers, and here you can see what are the types of the cancers present here. While coming to the types of the cancer, you have different sort of cancers present in your body. So here when coming to the carcinomes, so where are these actually forming is that epithelial tissue. Now you can say where these epithelial tissues are present. Epithelial tissues are present all over your body. Now sarcomas are connective tissues. Now leukemias, bone marrow or liquid tumor to the which causes WBC cancer, and here lymphomas, lymphatic system, the cancer which causes to the lymphatic system. Now retrovirus is present which enters into the host cell, reverse transcriptase cDNA starts producing more virus. This you can see in HIV virus sort of things happening, where the reverse transcriptase is the one enzyme which is present, and that enters into your normal DNA structures, it divides it, and the virus will multiply in number, and there is another cervical cancer is present, which is actually caused by human papilloma virus. Human papilloma virus is the one which causes this cervical cancer. Now where this cervical cancer is present is that near the neck of the uterus this cancer is actually caused, and here before that we don't have a vaccine for this, but now there is an availability of vaccine, so you can prevent this cervical cancer before attacking itself. You can prevent this cervical cancer with an vaccine available. And if at all a person is going for or the severe condition, or a person is affected with cervical cancer, what are the tests which need to be taken is that is pap test or pap smear test. This is the one test which is actually called as pap test or pap smear test. This is only one test which can we can diagnose the cervical cancer. So the cervical cancer can be detected or diagnosed by this test called as pap test. So this sort of questions you will get in your MCET. What are the tests which is actually used for detecting the cervical test or something like that. So there you can put this thing, that is pap test, which is actually used for the detection of cervical cancer. So these are types of the cancer, and this you can see that the thing which actually causes the cancer, what are those rays which causes the cancer. So we have seen types of cancers, and we have seen the one which is actually causing the cancer. We have seen the introduction for the cancer, everything. So the rest, the last part we are going to deal with here is that detection of cancer and the treatment of cancer. So the first thing is need to be, if at all you are suffering with the cancer, that need to be detected first. So what are the things, methods which are used for the detection of the cancer? Well, coming to the after the detection of the cancer, you need to be treated. So that is nothing but the treatment of the cancer. So while coming to the detection of the cancer, there is the first thing called as biopsy. Now what is this biopsy means? Biopsy is a process where they'll take out a kind of a part from your swelling, or the wherever there is a tumor sort of thing present on your body. They'll take a small part of that and they'll send for the lab, and they'll see if at all there is a tremendous growth of that division. That means that tendency of growing of the cell nothing but is a cancer. So this is a process called as biopsy. Now blood test is nothing for the leukemia, a blood cancer sort of thing can be detected for the blood test. And PSA test is prostate specific antigen test for prostate cancer. That is nothing but the prostate glands, whatever are present in our body, if at all they are suffering with the cancer, what is the one which is actually dealing for the detection is nothing but PSA test. Now here mammogram is the one more kind of test which is used to detect the cancer. Now X-ray, CT scan, MRI is used for the diagnostic imaging of the body parts to detect the cancer cell. That means if at all there is a passage of these cancers to any sort of body parts, that can be detected by using this X-ray or CT scan or MRI. Now there is a PET scan for breast cancer, lung cancer and colorectal cancer and cervical cancer. So there is a PET scan where you can detect all these sort of kind of cancers, if at all they are present in, if at all there is a presence of cancer in the breast, lung or colorectal or cervical. This is the kind of scan which is actually used to detect there is a sort of cancer or not. So here treatment of the cancer. Now while coming to the treatment of the cancer means there are n number of kind of things which are used to treat this kind of cancers. Well, coming to one is surgical removal. So there are some sort of cancer where they can be removed using a surgical method, and radiation treatment to destroy the cancer cell adjoining tumors. Radiations means, see, if at all there is a cell present here, another cell is present here. This is a normal cell and this is the cancer cell. If at all you wanted to protect this cell, it should not suffer from the cancer. That means you need to sell the radiations so that this cell will not spread its cancer to the next adjoining cell. Now chemotherapy is nothing but to destroy the cancer cells that might be moved to other parts of the body. See, there is some part of the example, if at all there is some intestine you have seen large and small intestine is present, and they are connected, they are tube form. So if at all one part of the thing is having a problem, or if at all one part of the small intestine or large intestine is suffering with a cancer, there is a chance that even there is a movement of that cancer to the rest of the part also of that long tube. So there you can see this chemotherapy works properly. If at all these radiations are sent, if at all that cancer is present in and around of that body part also, that it is going to kill the cancer cells there. And the side effects of the chemotherapy, chemotherapy is a high radiation power sending sort of things. So what is happening if at all a person is giving, if at all a person is going through chemotherapy, is that you can see this picture, it is called as alopecia. Alopecia means this is a follicle, the hair is coming out of the follicle. That means there will be a loss of hair so much if at all a person is taking a chemotherapy radiations. And anemia is nothing but a simple decrease in RBC blood cells. So here what happens here is that now the other things, the drugs are need to be given for the cancer patient. What is this is that Taxol, anti-cancer drug. Now what is Taxol means, what it is actually is doing, that it stops active division of the cell. The cell, what is the cancer cell actually doing? It divides. So taking of this anti-cancer drug, what happens is that stops this tremendous growth of the cell growing, and you have biological response modifiers called as alpha interferons. Now biological response modifiers, this is a kind of immunity system. It belongs to the part of immune system, where they activate your immune system in order to provide more antibodies and to fight against the cancer cells. And here biotherapy is nothing but monoclonal antibody based biological drugs. That means this is a kind of another kind of technology used here, using the cancer cells and the normal cells, and there is a process, in vitro process is taking place, and they are again inserted back into the organism whoever is suffering with the cancer. So this is a kind of biotherapy, is a kind of a typical part, and it is involved more of technology there. So these are a kind of different sectors where you can treat the cancer people. And here you can see the type, here you can see the detection of the cancer, how they can be detected, and here you can see the treatment of the cancers there.